Now, my prize finalist from the Archibald is Alexander McKenzie. He's exhibited there on a number of occasions, but he's done a lot of work. He specialises actually in landscape paintings. He's much celebrated and a travelled artist, and in addition to his artwork, he's released a book entitled The Adventurous Gardener, and has been profiled in many magazines and interviews and online. Alexander, good to have you.
Happy to be here.
Has art always been important to you?
Always. I was the little kid who drew and painted at school. I was the kid that used to draw caricatures of the teachers and the school friends. And
everybody wanted to have a look.
And everyone wanted one of themselves, yeah.
When did you know that you had a gift? Now, I want to say that in the best way, because we all have gifts. But when did you know that this was going to be your gift?
I painted so much as a child that I actually had a designated studio from the time I was 11 in the family house. We have paintings that date back from when I was 3 or 4, so I can't remember a time, in fact, where I didn't want to be an artist.
So do you think Mum home actually recognised the gift?
I think so, yeah. In hindsight, I'd have to give a lot of credit to my mother for looking after that and nourishing that gift, yes, as a young person, sure.
And it's not as though your parents were artists, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, my father was a sailor and Mum was a teacher, so they were creative in their own way, but certainly not professionals, no.
Your tertiary art studies began in '89 and your first exhibition was 2016. You've travelled extensively. How do you describe your journey as an artist? My journey as an artist, I guess, is like most creative people. It's a long, hard slog. There is a lot of work and a lot of trialing. But if your passion is there and you refuse to give up, you might have a chance of getting there in the end. How does faith have any part to play?
Of course. My faith really has informed everything I've ever done, so it's the foundation for the work and my life. So it's always been there. It's a real constant in all of the work.
Let me talk, because there's only limited time, about some of the first that you were asked to do that very special one for the art museum in Canberra, weren't you? Tell us about that.
That's right. Yeah, I did a very big commission for the Australian War Memorial.
Yeah.
So I had to travel to Israel to paint on the Sea of Galilee, an enormous painting for part of the 100-year anniversary of the First World War.
And that was very special to do.
It was an extraordinary thing to do, and to go to Israel and to do the work there, and then to come back and paint this enormous 10-metre work in Canberra was a real privilege. Yeah.
Now, you tell me that you begin your artwork when you've got an idea.
That's right.
It begins with a very small piece.
Yeah, I have hundreds of sketchbooks which I keep by my bed and in the studio and in the car, and I fill them with little tiny notes, the sort of size of little postage stamps that are the origin of any of the paintings.
Yeah. Now, let me look at 2 or 3 of those paintings that we have there. Let me have a look at this one first. It's called The Opponent. What is that about?
Well, in The Opponent, you can see you're presented with sort of an idealised island, but as you come in closer to look at it, you discover that, in fact, parts of the island are on fire, but it's closely, even still, you see that it's a man-made fire, that somebody is, in fact, been there perhaps before you to try and destroy...
To ruin it,
and ruin what you have been in your mind trying to build.
Let's have a quick look at the second one. The second one, there's going to be 3 here. This is The Danger of Knowledge.
That's
this
right.
looks rather perfect, doesn't it, this picture?
It does, in a sense, and that's the idea, that you're invited in visually to look at this kind of beautiful, formalised Italianate garden, but on closer inspection,
it's not so.
It's not so.
The third one is these 9 gates, isn't it?
So in this picture, as the viewer is invited in by the centralised kind of sandbank, you'll discover that there is in fact 9 gates hidden within that arrangement of trees, and the choices of which one lead you on to the further parts of the painting.
Of course, like every artist, you're not going to tell us what it's about. We're invited to look at it, aren't we, and to make our decision ourselves.
That's right. I make paintings quite clearly with what they're about in my own mind, but I don't like to have, an explanation next to them.
Look, I wanted to ask you, if somebody was listening in on our conversation today, was interested in communicating faith and the arts, what would you say to them?
I think you need a combination of things to be an artist. I think perhaps there's some sort of idealised idea, a romantic idea that if we're gifted with something, then success will actually follow quite easily. But in fact, quite the opposite is true. If God has maybe called you in something to be creative, He's also called you to work at it. So you need to have inspiration, but you need to have dedication. You need to have the ideas and the compulsion to make work, but you also need the determination to continue to turn up into the studio every day and make the work.